Nobody wants to help you if you look like you need help. If you look like you're walking in there with your hat in your hand, nobody wants to help you because it's human nature. They say to themselves, man, what's with this guy? Nobody's helped him. Maybe he's not right. Maybe, but people want to help you. The more successful you are, the more they want to be in business with you. If you look like you need help, they won't help you.
Exactly.
Sad, but true. Hi, this is Chazz Palminteri,
Wise, and this is Michael Franzese.
the wise guy.
And here we are back again for another episode, should we call it, of The Wise and The Wiseguy.
Wise and the wise guy. I'm telling you, I didn't expect the success of this so quick, Michael.
No, it's moving along well. And I have to tell you this, I mean, you get noticed all the time because you're Chazz Palminteri, but I have to say, so many people are recognizing me, especially in airports, Chazz. It's unbelievable how many come up. But the good thing now is a lot of people are coming up and say, hey, I watch you and Chazz on The Wise and The Wiseguy. Yeah. It's really building, which is nice. And we're happy to.
Which is great about it because this podcast helps your podcast, your solo podcast, and it helps my podcast, the Chazz Palminteri Show. So work begets work, and all the subscribers are coming intertwined with each other.
They are. I have to say something. I did a piece on Access Daily with Mario Lopez. I think you know who Mario is.
Yeah.
You may not know this, but he's a big fan of yours.
I heard that, yes.
Yes, he is. Too. So he said, listen, the next time Chazz comes in town, maybe we can all get together with the Wise for dinner. I said,
absolutely.
Set it up. Yeah, he's a really good guy.
He seems like. I'm going to tomorrow I'm going to Mark Wahlberg's party, and I met him a bunch of times. Great guy, really good man, good husband, man of faith. I like him a lot. And the eight of us, we all got to get together with our wives. It'll be nice.
Would love to do it. I have a lot of respect for Mark. I like the way he's handled his career, his faith. He's a good family man, and he's a great actor. I mean, he does a good job.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, so today, Chazz, I don't know about you, and I'm sure this applies to you, but any success that I've had in my life, it's a lot has to do with networking. People that I've met, people that I stay in touch with, people that I meet them one day. We say hello, we share some, nice, and then all of a sudden, 3 years later, I remember, hey, I met this guy, and we get together and we do something together.
Yeah, so, what I always say on my podcast, your network is your net worth, and
exactly right.
And I say that all the time because they proved that of all the things that a CEO could be, or someone who is a great leader or a successful person, is his ability to meet and work with everyone. That's the most important thing, more than your drive, more than your determination, more than your perseverance. Some people, more than your talent. A person who has talent, but knows how to talk and really work with a lot of different people. That's the guy who's very successful.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I'm sure, even in business, there's some things that I'm good with that I have a talent, and there's a lot of things that I'm just no good at all. I don't want to spend the time or the effort. I'm not good at all. And my motto has always been, do what you do best, delegate the rest to the people around you that can do that job better than you, and just manage them properly. And that's worked for me throughout my life.
Me too. To delegate, you got to just, hey, you're good at that, you do that. And they have to feel good at what they do, and they have to feel like you're taking credit for what they're doing. I never do that. I learned many years ago, the more you give away, the more you get back.
100%.
The more you give away, all egos and accolades. And if somebody says, "Oh my God, you directed that movie," and I always say, "Thank you. I had a great cast. I had a great photographer. I had great people around me." And nobody does it alone. Nobody does it alone, man.
Absolutely, Chazz. We always, it's the people around us that support us. And I mean, again, if we can motivate them, encourage them, and they want to work with us, and everything turns out good for all involved, it's always a win. It's a win-win.
It's a win-win. You're right.
Which brings me to this, the next topic we have in this book. It's called The 12 Steps to Boundaryless Success. And I'll tell you quickly how this came about. You know the book, Chazz. A good friend of mine now, a fellow by the name of Brett Oubre, who's out of New Orleans. He and I connected about a year ago. We don't know each other that long, but what a wonderful guy. He owns about 10 automobile dealerships in his area. Just bought another one here in South California. And his goal is to own 100 within the next 3 or 4 years. And he's moving in that direction. And he really knows the business extremely well. That's a business I was in at one time. So I can see how, he's doing a great job. We become friends and he wrote this book and I got a lot of good out of it. I know you did too. And like we get these words of wisdom from other people that you, our viewers, may never get the opportunity to meet, but you meet them through their writings and the things that they, that they've brought forward. So we want to talk about 5 key points that we normally point out in the book that hopefully will motivate you to pick it up and learn a little bit more. And let me tell you this right off the bat, Chazz and I don't earn any money on this. We have no deal. We just really to benefit all of you so that you get, the benefit of our perspective on it and their knowledge, the people that wrote the book.
Absolutely. Let's do it.
So let's do it. First point, again, it's the 12 steps to boundaryless success. Boundaryless success, meaning your success has no boundaries. And we'll take 5 key points. The first one being the power of self-awareness. The book emphasizes the importance of understanding oneself and recognizing personal strengths, weaknesses, and values. Self-awareness is seen as the foundation for achieving success without boundaries. What do you think of that, Chazz?
Well, I mean, what he's getting right to the heart of it. And what I love about the book and about that law, it's the very first one. If you don't know who you are and what your boundaries are, then how the hell are you going to navigate anything else? I know in my head what I do best. And I know in my head what I don't do best and what also gets me sometimes. If I can get certain things get me very upset. So just before I go into that meeting, because I know what just happened, I have to go, okay, Chazz, relax. What this guy did was wrong. You're going to sit down with him. Just go easy. Don't dress him down in front of everybody. Do that a little privately, but make it understood where you're coming from. Okay. So what I do is I don't like to dress anybody down in front of another person or a group of people. I just don't think you have to do that. You don't. For me, that is not a good thing to do. It never ends up good because if you really want to dress somebody down, you can do it when it's just you and him and there's nobody else around. By people who dress people down in front of people, that's really for them so they can look like a big shot. I don't like that. Just recently, I had a thing, one of the companies I had, one guy who was coming into the company or just trying to be involved. He kind of was gossiping about a competitor of mine. And he was gossiping in front of people and people came back and told me that. And in fact, this happened today. And I called him up and I said, hey, man, I like you, but I don't know you that well, but I'm getting to know you. And these people came to me and said this. And I asked them point blank, is this true? Are you sure he said this? So I'm asking you point blank, did you say this or not? And he said, I guess I was. I was just trying to protect you and tell them they got to treat you. And I was like, hey, man, you can't do that. You can't gossip a little bit, then say it's protecting me. To make a long story short, he realized that, and I said, please don't ever do that again. Gossiping, I don't like. Now, and I think he said, you know what, I made a mistake. So now if he was aware of that first rule, he wouldn't have said that. It's a stupid thing to do. Gossip is terrible. Negativity, terrible. I try. Just like he said, Dale Carnegie said, do not talk negative. And when I'm about to say something negative, which we all do, and it's about to come out of my mouth, I stop. I try to stop. So I think being self-aware, most people, Michael, shoot themselves in the foot every time. If you think about it, they shot themselves in the foot. So what he is trying to say is, which is brilliant, is before you do any other rule, know yourself. And if I know, because I got mad when I heard that, but I just sat there and I said, okay, he seems like a good guy. Maybe he just did something stupid. And I was relaxed and I called him up and I had to straighten it out in a very nice way. And he ended up, we're still friends, and he ended up saying, that'll never happen again. And I said, we're good, man. Don't worry about it. So I said,
Yeah, I mean, you're so right on point with that. And, one of the breeding grounds for negativity is obviously YouTube.
right.
And I got to tell you this, Chazz, because it immediately popped into my head. In our genre, in the mob genre, there are people out there that are trying to build a channel by talking bad about other people,
Exactly.
throwing out garbage and negativity. And
Right.
if you look at their platforms, they're not growing because people don't want to hear that.
No.
There's a very small group of people that want to hear that for whatever, maybe they have issues in their own life. I don't know. But for the
Right.
most part, people don't want to hear that stuff, And, that's why I think, and I mean this, you and I are having some success because, we don't do that. We're
No.
not here to talk or knock people or talk negative about people. We want to encourage people, motivate them,
Right.
use the wisdom of others, to, again, try to encourage people. And so I
Yeah.
agree with you. And I certainly believe this 100% self-awareness.
Yeah. I mean,
is-
Marcus Aurelius, one of the Stoics who I love to read about, he said, when someone gossips to you, he thinks gossip is the worst thing of all. And I use that. And I say to them, I said, okay, you're telling me something right now. And I always say, he says, ask that person, do you know this is true for a fact? And that person's going to say, well, no, someone told me that. Okay, so then I go, so you're telling me about my friend, but you don't know if it's true. And he says, and you hold him to the fire. Then after that, you say, tell me, why are you telling me this? And it really makes people think before they gossip. Really does.
Yeah,
Yeah.
no, and that is a good point. Do you know for a fact that it's true? Because people do pause and hesitate at that moment.
Yes. So why are you telling me this if you don't even know it's true?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
there's so much misinformation out there. And, if Trump did anything, fake news has become, you think
Yeah.
he fake everything, just
Yeah.
because he pounded that into people's brains.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
basically misinformation is what it is.
Yeah.
But
The whole world is misinformation. Yes.
very good point. All right, let's go to number 2. Embracing a growth mindset. The author promotes the idea of adopting a growth mindset, which involves a belief that abilities and intelligence can be developed through dedication and hard work. By cultivating this mindset, individuals can overcome obstacles and continuously improve themselves. So it's about a growth mindset rather than, stagnant mindset.
Right. Looking ahead, making connections. How could I, every day saying to yourself, how could I make this business grow? What can I do today? I'm up for this 24-hour day. What can I do to make my business, myself grow? What? I mean, just think, I could find a lot of things not to make it grow. I could drink. I could get high on drugs. I could watch porn all day. But what am I doing opposite of that? Oh, let me touch base with some people I haven't spoken to a while. Let me see how my company's doing. Let me call my partner and see what we can do. Let me start a podcast. Let me work on a podcast. What are you doing every day? And that's why I love what he said, is to make yourself grow. Everybody knows that. Put down, say, tomorrow there's 10 things I want to do. And right, this is the most important. Yada. All right. So look at the top 3 and the rest forget about. Do the top 3. Do the top 3. And when you do that every day something new, that's like it's like compound payments. It just grows and grows and grows at the end of the week, the end of the month, the end of the year, the end of 2 years and 3 years. Do you imagine if you work on yourself every day to grow a company or grow yourself, Michael? I mean, what I do, and you do the same. I know you do. I mean, and I'll tell you quickly, I wake up in the morning. I have my routine. I wake up in the morning, I take a cold shower. I hate it, but I do it. I hate it with a passion, but I do it. I get out of the cold shower. I'm like, wow, okay, brush my teeth, okay. And all of a sudden, I get out of the cold shower. I go down to my kitchen. I get my green tea. I get my beats of this drink that I have, finish that, go down, and I work out for an hour. I finish the hour of workout, whether it's the boxing hour, the cardio, or the weightlifting. Finish that. I go into my sauna and I do the red light sauna. I do that for 25 minutes. I get out of that. I go into my office and I write. I write for 3 to 4 hours. I finish that. I make phone calls. I have dinner. And then I spend time with my wife. And I do this every day. It's work, but I do it in my head because I could wait. Have I wasted a day sometimes where something happens and company comes over? Yeah, that happens, of course. I don't go, look, I got to go work out. Like, do I do it? Of course. But you know what saves me is I'm right back on the horse the next day. So I'll have a few bad days a month, but in the totality of the situation of my life, I'm doing great. And that's how it is. You wake up, all right, what are we doing today? Where am I meeting? You're always doing an interview. You're on the road. You're doing this, you're doing that. That bills, man. That's like compound interest in the bank. And at the end of your life, you go, damn, I did okay, man. And that's how I look at it.
Yeah, no, I'm totally with you. And it's all growth. I mean, because every day you're growing and moving forward and accomplishing something rather than being stagnant and sitting around and worrying about things that you oftentimes you have control over changing, but you just do it, you know?
You said it, but you said the key words there. You're always moving forward.
Yeah.
That's
and
the key word.
you know, it's funny. I talk sometimes, you know, about, well, I got to do this because in 3 years I want to retire. But then I say to myself, retire for what? You know, I don't see any retirement in my life. You know, maybe it's good to say, well, you know what? If I wanted to do nothing, I could, but I'm never going to do nothing. You know what I mean?
No, you can't. You can't. First of all, you love to give to people, and I love to give to people, and you know, like Jesus, he never would have retired. You know, if he lived to be an old man, you think, and I'm not comparing us with Jesus, please, before somebody says that. I'm just saying, it's service. You know, you're a Christian, you know, and I'm a Catholic. We like to give service to other people. I do it for nothing. If I walk down the street or somebody talks to me, he's got a problem, I'll spend 5 minutes with him and talk to him, and I will. You know, it's like
it's a good practice. And listen, we totally recommend. I think, you know, Brett brought out a very good point, and I think it is a key element, no doubt.
Right.
All right, moving on. Number 3, setting clear goals. Oh God, how important is this? The book emphasizes the need for setting clear and specific goals to achieve success. It provides practical strategies for defining goals, breaking them down into manageable steps, and monitoring progress. And this chapter is really, really important because what he says here, it provides practical strategies for defining your goals, meaning realistic goals, breaking them down into manageable steps, and monitoring progress. You know, I think so many people, you know, run around like a chicken without a head, is the saying.
Yeah.
They have no idea where they're going, you know, what they finally want to achieve. Oh, I want to make money. Okay, we get it. But define that. What does that mean?
Right.
You know, what's the path you're going to take? What's the end game? Where do you want to end up, you know, in your pursuit of money? And, you know, I found that if I don't set goals for myself, even myself earlier on in my life, okay, I'm wandering around a little bit because I want to make money. And Chazz, when I was younger, I was very aggressive and I would get into a lot of different things, and that didn't always work out. And it wasn't until I finally said, okay, wait a second. I need to have tunnel vision, and this is my goal. I got to make this thing work. Once I make this thing work, if I can branch out maybe into other things. So setting that goal was key to my success in that life.
Yes. Well, think about it, Michael. People out there that go, oh man, I want to make money. and this is for the people listening to this podcast right now, okay? I'm telling you that you're looking at a man, Michael Franzese, who made $8 million a week. You hear that, folks? Are you listening to me out there? $8 million a week. Now I'm going to ask him a question. Michael, would you trade that time or would you trade this time? Which one you want to be in?
It wouldn't, it's not even a close race. This time, 1,000% over last time.
Okay, 8 million a week, folks. And he said, no, I'd rather be where I am right now. So money doesn't make you happy. And I know what you're saying. Well, I'd rather cry and be rich. And you say all the cliches. Well, you have money. That's why you could say that. So what can I say? All I can say to you is that money makes you comfortable. It's a tool, but it doesn't make you happy. Look at Matthew Perry. Matthew Perry probably had $100 million in the bank. Obviously, it didn't make him happy. It didn't. He spent $9 million trying to get sober. God knows what happened to him. I worked with him in the late 80s, so I don't claim to know him. On a show, he was a sweet kid. He was very young then, and now he's gone. So obviously, folks, money can't be your end goal. By doing what you love to do, that will make you money, and that'll make you happy.
Absolutely. And we can go on and on. Robin Williams, same thing.
Oh, God.
J. Paul Getty,
Yeah.
billionaire, had 7 people at his funeral. You know, he was a miserable guy throughout his life. So what was his goal? Was his goal to achieve as much money as he possibly can have? And in the meantime, or on the way up, he alienated himself and people around him. You know, your goals have to be realistic. You know, and I tell people this too, Chazz, not everybody can be a boss or an entrepreneur. There were some people that came to me and wanted to do things, and I would say to them, you know what? I've observed you. I've watched you. You're a better worker than you are a manager. You're great at what you do. You got a lot of skill. Stay at this. Let your goal be the best possible person in this line of work that you can possibly be, and you're going to have a good life. You're going to be good. That should be your goal. But some people, well, you know, I want to open a business. I want to do this. I want to do that. And at the end of the day, it's all about thinking about making money that we're going to have. But it's an unrealistic goal. And that's why you have to establish realistic goals. And then, as Brett says in this chapter, which is very helpful, he tells you how to get there once you have that goal. And that's important because a lot of people have set a goal. They don't know how to get there. They're going all different ways to try to achieve it. They don't know how to get there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And I believe there should be for me, there should be long-term goals and short-term goals. My long-term goals are where do I want to be in 2 years? Okay, and what are my short-term goals? Where do I want to be each day at the end of this month? And I have long-term goals. I want to direct like five movies in my life. I directed. I just finished my second, and I hope maybe I want to do maybe 3 more, where I'll be able to do 5 movies.
Let me stop you because one of them is going to be the Michael Franzese story, as we know.
Well, that would be, hey, that would be fantastic. But that's what I want to do. I can honestly say is like, come on, there's nobody better to do that than me, because you would be on the set with me and I would pick your brain and say, tell me what happened here, because that's what Robert De Niro did with me. Mm-hmm. He directed Bronx Tale, and he was so generous and kind and collaborative, and he just kept me on the set and asked me questions. How did this really happen? And what happened there? You know, and if you look at the movie, and I've said this for 30-something years, the reason why it came out so great is because of Bob, because he was able to take what everybody said and just put it up there, you know. So, and we would have fun, but be as it may, that's why I love doing this stuff with you, because I write down stuff while we're talking. What I love about the book, boom, self-awareness. Before you do anything, know who you are. Set goals. What I love about the book, it's a damn roadmap, a blueprint to success.
Yes.
Yeah.
And you know what? We all need that. Everyone needs that.
Yeah,
Even
yeah.
people that, have pretty much a good idea how to achieve that. You could always learn from somebody else that's been there, done that, proven himself. So, I pick up
Yeah.
pointers from people all the time, and certainly from Brett, because he's terrific in that regard. All right,
Yes.
number 4, building resilience. Very, very important. The author highlights the importance of resilience in the face of challenges and setbacks. The book explores various techniques and strategies for developing resilience, such as reframing negative experiences, practicing self-care, and seeking support from others. How important is all of this, Chad?
Wow. Let's take them one at a time, those 3 points. The first one was what?
Okay, developing such as reframing negative experiences.
Without a doubt, like if something, anything that's negative, or if something comes out that's negative, is how you reframe that, and how you change that into um, make a negative a positive, and I think that's really important. Um, that's why a lot of times when you direct a movie, you put it out there. You have private screenings. You see what the audience likes. You see what you like, and then you do you hear. And if you hear enough times that one thing, then you go, maybe I should look at that. Don't take it as a negative. If people have a problem with the ending of your movie, let me think about that. Look at the ending, make it better. Don't start fighting with people. No, I don't care. It's got to be this way. If enough people feel that way, maybe there's something in there to look at. If enough people feel that your essay is not good, or your company is lacking in customer development, maybe you should look at that. Where there's smoke, there's fire sometimes. I think don't take it so personal. Everybody takes it so damn personal. God. One thing I learned, no success is ever final and no failure is ever fatal. It really isn't. You learn from failure. You never learn from success. Never,
No,
never.
you're so right. And you know what I learned, Chaz? This goes back to setting realistic goals. When you set a goal that's unrealistic, and after trying to make it happen, it fails.
Right,
I've learned what I've told myself. I didn't fail at the end of this. I failed at the beginning by setting a goal that was never really achievable. So
right.
all I did was waste a lot of time. And if I would have set the goal properly to begin with, I wouldn't be where I am now. So I didn't look at the end of it as a failure. I looked at it as a mistake in setting that goal. So I'm a perfect believer that there is no failure. Failure
Hmm.
is a learning experience. If you
Right,
set a realistic goal and for some reason you put the effort and it didn't work out, well, maybe you made a mistake along the way in trying to achieve that goal, but it's never a failure. It's a learning experience. You say, okay, now I get it. This is what I should have done or should not have done. And now I'm going to do it better the second time.
right.
Oh, so they go hand in hand, but this is key stuff. And then the second part is practicing self-care and seeking support from others.
By taking care of yourself, like we talked about before, self-care, you have to care. And I always tell people, I had a friend of mine. He was a great writer, really good writer. And we sold a bunch of scripts together. Mostly I write alone, but he was one guy who I enjoyed writing with. For some reason, we complimented each other. And he just really loved to write with me. For some reason, I don't know, I made him a better writer. And he knew it. But he's a wonderful writer himself. And we would, in the beginning, we would go into his studio, and I always look nice. I'm dressed nice. I'm always well groomed and everything. And he's just not like that. He walks in like he just rolled out of bed. There's wrinkles and, his beard. And when I saw him at the first time we were together, I said, "What are you doing, man? We got a meeting over here." He goes, "What?" I go, he didn't even realize it. I said, "You gotta look nice. What's the matter with you?" He goes, "Nah, this is me. This is me." So we were late for the meeting. We had to walk right in. We were almost late. So I said, "All right, forget it." We walk into the meeting, and the head of the studio looks at me and goes, "Chazz, Tony, how are you guys? Chazz, what have you been up to?" And I tell him. this is happening, that's happening, but true, all good things. And my friend, who is writing another movie for a studio, he says, and he says his name, and how are you? And he says, hey, me, I'm just looking for a job, I need a job. I got to pay. But he's self-deprecating,
Yeah.
and we've had the meeting and we walked outside and I said, listen to me carefully, babe. This is our first meeting together. Don't ever dress like that again, and don't ever self-deprecate yourself. I said, at that time he was like 50. And I said, you're 50 years old. When you're self-deprecating under the age of 17 is not attractive. Okay, don't ever do that again. And he got a little upset, but you know what? He never did it again. And he always thanked me for that. You just, be aware of what you look like.
Absolutely.
Come on, and I love that what he said that when he says that. Be aware of yourself and your surroundings. Jesus.
And hopefully what he said afterwards, what you just schooled this guy on, he said, seeking support from others, which you just gave that guy a life lesson that's critical. I mean, you walk into a meeting, you got to present yourself. There's got to be some self-confidence, not arrogance and not narcissism, but you got to be confident in what you're there for. If you're knocking yourself when you walk in the room, how's somebody going to think of you,
Exactly. And I tell this, and I want all our listeners to hear this. If you get anything from this one podcast, this one right now is, remember this. Nobody wants to help you if you look like you need help. If you look like you're walking in there with your hat in your hand, nobody wants to help you, because it's human nature. They say to themselves, man, what's with this guy? Nobody's helped him. Maybe he's not right. Maybe, but people want to help you. The more successful you are, the more they want to be in business with you. If you look like you need help, they won't help you. Exactly. Sad, but true.
No, it's just like walking into a bank. If you walk into a bank desperate to borrow money, you may as well not even walk in the door.
Don't even walk in. If you walk into a bank and you're somewhat of a very wealthy, whatever. Hey, Michael, come in and sit down.
Yes.
Whatever you need, whatever you guys need. That's it. But please, our listeners out there, please write that down and remember that. You got to look good, sound good, have your plan ready, and walk in there with a purpose.
Absolutely. And take support from others. Extremely important. Don't ever think that you know it all and you can never listen. It's so ridiculous, really.
Yes.
All right. And number 5, this is critical. Cultivating effective communication skills. Chazz, you and I know this as well or better than anybody. The book emphasizes the significance of effective communication in building successful relationships and achieving career growth. It provides insights on how to improve listening skills, express ideas confidently, and build meaningful connections with others. How significant is your ability to communicate?
Yeah, I mean, that's why this book is so great. It really lays it out there. How do you communicate? If you can't communicate, where are you going? What are you going to do? You got to walk into a room and communicate with people. I mean, it's so, and you have to listen. Sometimes you got to keep your mouth shut and you got to listen. Listen to what everybody's saying. Before you open up your mouth and want to say something that you're not sure of, just listen. And if you don't know the answer, say you don't know. Say, you know what, honestly, I really don't know about that. I would like to learn about that. But I don't want to pretend that I know that answer to that question. I would say that. It doesn't bother me, because if you fake it, it's going to look like a phony answer. And if the guy's really smart, he'll bust you. So I'd rather say, you know what, I don't know that. I'm not aware of that. Because you look stupid if you get caught. Oh, I saw your movie. I loved it. Oh, you did? When did you see it? Oh, I saw it on Netflix. Oh, that's strange. It's not out on Netflix yet. It's still in the movies. I was standing right there when this guy did that. He said it, and the guy said, well, it's not out on Netflix yet. And I just kind of shut my mouth. I looked at the guy, and the guy had to look at the executive and say, yeah, I'm sorry. It's another movie, not yours. I made a mistake. But you look stupid.
Well,
You know,
let me tell you this, communication in your business, Chaz, the reason you're a brilliant actor and you've had success in your movies is because through your dialogue, through your actions, your mannerisms, you communicate emotions to people and they pick up on it because of
right,
communication skill as an actor. In my sense, I've been speaking now for 25 years. And yeah, I could tell a story, but it's how I tell the story and communicate with my audience that matters. So your communication, if you're sitting in a meeting, I can't tell you how many times guys have come to me with a deal and I'm listening to them for 20 minutes and I still don't know what they want.
right.
I don't know what you're talking about. It's like, this happened recently. A guy got up and asked me a question, and we do a Q&A at the end, got on the microphone. There's 1,000 people in the audience. For 5 minutes, he's on there. And I said to him, sir, I don't know what your question is. You just spent 5 minutes communicating something that's supposed to be a question, and I can't answer it because I don't even know what you're asking me.
Right.
Your ability to communicate with anybody in anything in any walk of life is so critical. It's a make or break in my opinion, and Brett really gets into that in this chapter. It's make or break, because
Right.
if you can't communicate, you lost.
Yeah, I mean, why is it that, sometimes you walk into a meeting, a room, and you don't know anybody there. You just met them for the first time, and you'll meet with them, and then you'll walk out at the end of the meeting, and you'll look at your partner or whatever, and you say, I'm sure you did it, especially when you were made and wise guy, or even a regular businessman. You say, "Ah, I don't like that guy.
Mhm.
Really? I don't know what it is. What's the matter? I don't know what it is. I don't trust him, and I don't like him. He just was not communicating right. And maybe you just felt something. And usually, sometimes they say when you go with your gut, you're right. It's not really a gut. It's the
Mhm.
front of the brain that
Instinct.
sees that. It's instinct. You just go, no, I don't want to be in business with this guy. I met a lot of people back then that tried to make me sell Bronx Tale, and they were offering me millions of dollars. But when I looked in their eyes, like I saw doll's eyes, like eyes from a doll, they were just saying the words, but
Yeah.
they didn't mean it. They didn't mean it. They weren't going to guarantee me with my things where I wanted to play Sonny, and I just felt it. And when I saw De Niro and met with him, you could see in his eyes that he meant what he said. And that's instinct, man. And he communicated exactly what I wanted to hear. He knew how to reach me and talk to me as an artist to artist. He just knew how to communicate with me, and we've been friends ever since.
And it's so important. And the points that he emphasizes here, listening skills, we just talked about that. You're not only communicating by speaking, but you're communicating by listening too, because
Right.
you're giving that person attention and you're really trying to pick up on what it is they're saying so you could respond properly, understand where they're coming from, express ideas confidently. If you can't do that, I don't care how smart you are. If you can't express yourself the right way,
Right.
people don't
Yes.
understand what it is you want. So, you lost at that point. And then, of course, building meaningful connections with others, which again, we talked about it in networking. Um,
Yeah.
and this chapter, Brett lays it out so perfectly. And for all those of you that are listening, watching today, this is something you really need to master in life. And look,
Yes.
listen, communication is everything. I'll tell you one of my frustrations. My son, Michael Jr., he was 16 years old. He went off the deep end on me. Great athlete, just got expelled from school. I had to get him back in, all this kind of stuff, right? Chazz, I communicate for a living like you do. I could not reach my son. He just
Yeah.
turned me off. So now it got me to question myself, what am I doing wrong here? Why am I not reaching this kid? Well, I learned later that sometimes with kids, they got to learn on their own, they got to
Yeah.
make a mistake or whatever. So I kind of, okay, it wasn't totally my fault, that I couldn't reach him, but it was something that really made me think, why am I not communicating with this kid? Because communication is everything. You're talking about when I sat down with Persico that time. And I said to him, I got to win every argument. I'm trying to make you understand the significance of this. And I really hit it home so that he got it. Because if he didn't, things would have been a lot different,
Right.
on
Yeah.
that. So,
Yes.
you have to master the art of communication. And
Yes.
you don't need to go to college, but you need to read books like this and listen to podcasts like this where we emphasize how important it is. It's so significant and vital in life, even in your marriage, in everything.
Right.
It's so important.
Because you just can't assume. See, like when you had that meeting with Junior, you just can't assume because you're paying him all this money that you're going to win every argument. You have to explain it. Say, look, we'll do this together, but this is what I want. And this is what I got to have for this thing to last. Oh, because if you didn't say that, it would have been like, Michael, you didn't say. I mean, these other guys, you got to say it. When I hire somebody, I said, hey, listen to me carefully, please. I have OCD. I might repeat myself. I could be annoying sometimes, but trust me when I say this, I'll be the best guy you ever worked for. Okay? I will treat you right. You treat me right. I will do it right. But if you betray my trust and you do something wrong, then you're out. You're out. But if we do what we do together, I'm the best guy you could have in your corner. But I say it. It's like, listen, man, here's how I am. And they know that then. They know it.
Yeah, there's no misunderstanding. And I only go back to Junior because understanding the street and the way things went, I had to make him understand something that he already knew. It wasn't that, but in this situation, I had to make him understand this really applies, Junior. We cannot let this out on the street because we will blow it. It's too good. Everybody's going to want to be involved. And once that happens, we're going to blow it. So you have to make me win. I said to him, I'll be right all the time. I'm not going to do anything that's wrong. Because if I think something's not, I'll come to you first and say, hey, how should I handle this? But I had to communicate all of this to him at that meeting, and he really got it. And then when his words were, okay, show me, because I said, I'm going to make you more money than you have. He just sat back. He said, show me. I said, okay, now it's on me to show him.
Right.
Well, I showed him, right?
Right.
He never made me lose an argument.
See, but he was very smart. He took it like two levels. He went, you got it. Show me.
Show me. Yes.
So he gave you like half the answer, which was very smart of him. That's a real Don. You got it, but show me.
Exactly.
Okay. Now I showed you. Done.
No question.
No question.
One thing about you, Junior was shrewd. And listen, Chazz, you know this. You've rubbed shoulders with guys. You don't sell some of these guys short. They were very, very smart.
Oh, they're very smart.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, they're smart in the world of human nature. They're smart, they're cunning, they know because they are thieves. Look, in their heart, they always think somebody's scamming me or I got to scam them.
Right.
So they're already looking for a scam, even if there isn't one.
Right.
So they know because that's the way I am. I think there's a scam, and every time somebody comes to me with something, show me. Prove to me that this is right. I'm the same way as you. Exactly.
Exactly. I got to tell you something. You'll appreciate this, Chazz. A wise guy once said to me, he said, listen, well, my father told me this too. Anybody that's not a made guy, anybody is a sucker. Could be the president, could be the Pope, doesn't matter. Billionaire, he's a sucker if he's not a made guy. So he said to me, he said, remember this, a made guy always believes that the money in your pocket really belongs to him. He's just trying to figure out how to get it.
Wow. That's true.
Imagine that. How many guys thought that way? Really thought that way.
Yeah.
The money in your pocket really belongs to me. I just got to figure out how to get it.
That's I got to get it.
Mentality.
Yeah, the mentality was, who's the big earner? Who's the earner? If he's a big earner, that's it.
That's it.
That's it. Wow.
Well, listen, I want to thank my friend Brett. You're going to meet him one day, Chazz. I know.
Yeah, sure. I'd like to.
For writing this book. And again, pick it up, 12 Steps to Boundaryless Success. And we only touched on a few of the key elements, but there's great stuff in this. Everybody should pick it up. You can go on Amazon or whatever and get it. And I know you're going to enjoy the read, and you're going to get a lot out of it. So,
okay,
that's it for today.
All right. So this is Chazz Palminteri.
Wise, and I'm Michael Franzese, the wise guy.
All right. See you next week.
All right.